You are watching the Target 4.2 retest film. We're demonstrating understanding of the significant features of a quadratic function and their relationship to real life situations. So have your white packet out. We're going to do a few problems that are actually on that white packet, and then you are going to complete the rest and then see your teacher if you need more help. And you need to hand in your white packet in order to do any kind of retesting. So let's start out with number 15. Turn to number 15. We'll do that little group of problems there. It starts out with a graph, and the first question is, what are the coordinates of the vertex? So you remember from class, the vertex is that minimum or maximum point. It's that thing right there. So in this case, it's -1, +2. And the second question asks you, is it a minimum or a maximum? So notice in this one, all the other points are above it. So it's got to be the smallest point that's on the parabola. So this one is a minimum. And then it asks about x-intercepts and y-intercepts. So x-intercepts are when it crosses the x-axis, and y-intercepts are when it crosses the y-axis. In this case, there are no x-intercepts, so we write the word none. If I were to draw another parabola in here, this would be an x-intercept, that would be an x-intercept. And you would label them as x equals and x equals. So if you get ones that have x-intercepts, make sure that you write x equals and x equals for those x-intercepts, where it crosses the x-axis. The y-intercepts then, where it crosses the y-axis. Here's the y-axis. It looks like it crosses right there. The line is a little thick, but you can see it crosses at 5. So y equals 5. And then we'll do number 19, which asks you what is the domain. And for parabolas, for quadratic functions that don't have a context, we're not looking at any kind of restrictions for the domain. So the domain is x is all real numbers. But the range is different. The range only goes down to 2. So 2 is the minimum value here for the range, for the y's. So all the y's are greater than or equal to 2 for the range. The last part has you writing the equation in vertex form. And remember, vertex form looks like this. So we need to plug in a value for a, and then h and k are just the vertex numbers. So a has to do with the slope of that very first point to the second point, vertex to the next point. And notice it goes up 3 and then right 1. So in the pattern, the 1, 3, 5 pattern, we would have to multiply that first number by 3 in order to get 3. That's why a has to be 3. So it ends up being that a is just the value of that first slope. So we can write our vertex form equation. A is 3, and then h is the first number of the vertex, and it's the opposite, so it'd be x plus 1. And k is the second number of the vertex, and it's the same, so it's plus 2. There's our vertex form. Okay, there you have it on that one. Let's skip on down to 22 and 23 and 24 and 25. This one actually has context, so we'll have to talk about that when we do 24 with the range. But let's first find the coordinates of the vertex. Coordinates of the vertex in standard form, you have to do opposite of b over 2a in order to figure out the x coordinate, or in this case the t coordinate. So remembering that the function is a in front of the t squared, b in front of the t, and c in front, or by itself, the constant term. So the opposite of positive 40 all over 2 times -5. And when we work that out, you get 4. So in order to find the y coordinate then, we just plug it back in. We're actually finding h of 4. So we're putting that 4 in the place of t in the equation. And it looks like we end up with, let's see, -5 times 16. It's -80 and 160. You end up with 100. You can plug that into your calculator and get the same answer pretty quick. But the coordinates of the vertex are 4, 100. Now, what does that mean in context of the problem? So you look at the context of the problem. This is going to be a t, and this is the h of t, the height. Now, the height is in feet, and t is measured in seconds. So this means at 4 seconds, the rocket is 100 feet. Okay, so then the range, we know the rocket hits the ground, so the smallest height is going to be 0, and the highest height is going to be 100. So if I were to draw this really quick, you would start up here somewhere, and then come on down and hit the ground. So the smallest one is at 0 feet. We know the vertex is at 100 feet, so the range must be between 0 and 100. The initial height is where time is equal to 0. So we're trying to find h of 0. And this ends up being the y-intercept because t is 0. If you need to work it out, that's okay. 0 squared, 0 times 5, 0. 40 times 0 is 0. You end up with 20 feet. There you have it. Feel free to rewind the tape and listen to any part of it again. Go see your teacher if you need more help before or after school. And then finish the packet and bring it in before you are going to retest.